like cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I appreciate your time more than anything. Thank you for hitting the play button. And if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, I want you to hit the bell notification. I'm going to get right into it. This question comes from a brother from Billings, Montana. And the question is, DELRAY, after all the information that you've given us in regards to the Tupac situation, what is the reason that you feel Tupac died? And do you feel like it was worth it? And who do you feel like was ultimately responsible? Well, that's a great question. And you know, I had to do my research on this, but I'm going to give you, you know how I do. I like to bring you not what I'm just thinking. I'm going to bring you the facts, and I'm going to get right into it. First and foremost, I feel like Tupac died for nothing. He died for nothing. And he died for something that he really didn't really know anything about, that he was trying to be involved in. And I'm going to prove that with these words that I'm about to read, and you're going to understand where I'm coming from. And it seems that the people around him who were older than him, who you think would have been giving him better information, better guidance. And then in one statement, Suge Knight says that Tupac was my little brother. Well, if Tupac was your little brother, shouldn't you have been giving your little brother or someone you say you love and respect better guidance, better information at that particular point? And I'm going to get into it like this. So basically on that night, in Vegas, Suge Knight explaining later on in another interview, he basically says that this is what Tupac was thinking in regards, you know, because he wanted a name in the streets. And it says Pac had a name at that point in the music business as a rapper, as the motherfucking best, the best you can get. Pac wanted that name in the streets because he on that shit as the best. At least he was man enough and gangster enough to push his moves and get that name regardless of what it costs. You got to understand, this is a man who was a CEO of a multi-million-dollar record label at that time. And this is the conversation that evidently he had with Tupac in regards to that. So with that, if I'm, you know, the head of time, like me, I'm going to give the advice, hey, man, look, you got it going on right now. You know, we're going to keep getting this money. You keep on doing your thing, you know, leave the streets to the streets and so on and so forth. But that's not what Suge Knight said. You heard what he said. You know, he basically saying at least he was man enough and gangster enough, you know, and so on and so forth. So now, without any information to the contrary, or should I say input to the contrary, as far as giving Tupac the right guidance and saying, hey, no, man, you know what? We're going to lead the streets to the streets. That's not what Suge Knight did. And basically it goes on to say, when you see a Tyson fight, you want to fight. So when the little homie get at Pac, like bam, next thing I know, he telling Pac something and he point. Knight's believed to be referring to Trayvon Lane, who the Los Angeles Times reported to have participated in an altercation along with Knight associates Alton McDonald, Roger Neckbone Williams, and Aaron Heron Palmer. Palmer and McDonald were later killed. As of the 2002 report, Lane and Williams were both incarcerated. So now, as most people who really didn't know, which I really didn't know, this is Suge Knight describing basically what happened. So he basically saying that somebody got at Pac and pointed basically Orlando Anderson out. So this is from somebody who was an eyewitness. This is not my story. This is not, what I'm saying. Oh, you wasn't there. This is Suge Knight. Y'all believe Suge Knight. Y'all say, you wasn't there, so you don't know. No, I don't. Here's Suge Knight's word. He's saying that somebody pointed somebody out to Tupac. I don't know if it was Trayvon Lane or not. And basically, they saying that Suge was referring to Trayvon Lane. And so the fight ensues. Now, once again, because Tupac trying to get a name in the streets, so he proceeds to go and get at Orlando Anderson, who's a street cat. You know what I mean? Well known, at that time, unbeknownst to most people who find out this information later on, a well-known Crip gang member, right? Then it goes on to say, the next thing I know, I see Pac charging the man that was pointed at. Pac, took the nigga down. Tupac is my little brother. Once again, there's that little brother statement that I was telling you guys about that Suge always makes a reference to, Tupac being his little brother. Now, if Tupac is my little brother, and everybody treats their little brothers differently, let's be clear. I'm not allowing my little brother to get into any altercation with anybody if I'm the big brother. You understand what I'm saying? And so when you think about what Suge is saying, you have to pay attention to the mentality, the thinking. Here's a guy, once again, I tell you, who's a head of a company that's supposed to be upwards of $100 million. At that time, this is what the notion was, the reports were, and so on and so forth. And so he's basically saying, once again, Tupac is my little brother. And it continues. Suge says he pushed that mob line that aligns with the Compton street gang. He took down a well-known Compton gangbanger who was a Crip. Tupac looked at me and was like, you see how I took off? I'm like, shit, you did that. I said, understand one thing. You got to push that line on somebody. It's some gangbanger activities that will be involved. There are consequences with that, After that situation, we on some real ghetto politics right now. You got the homies over here and you got Crips over here. And you're getting everything you asked for. You're the best in the rap game. Shit, now being the best in the street game, I said. The only thing different in the rap game, there's a reward. In the streets, you are known to be, in the streets, when you're known to be the best, you become a trophy. Everybody wants a trophy. Can you believe that, man? I don't have any dog in the fight, cat in the caboodle, or none of that. I'm just listening to the grown man say what he's saying to Tupac. This is supposed to be your cash cow. And you basically mingling with him as if he's some average street guy. It is crazy to me. So now, once again, not just what happened, but we're dealing with the mentality of the people that you're dealing with and how he's thinking, how the CEO, the guy who's supposed to have your best interests at heart as a businessman, as a business partner, correct? Okay. And so when we deal with these facts, you got to understand, it's crazy. It's crazy. So Tupac is now the trophy, right? Everybody wants the trophy. So, basically, and it's also what I'm about to read to you, because it was basically also said that Suge Knight in the police report, right? When they asked Suge Knight, did he see who was shooting? He said no. He was ducking down, pulling Pac down, and so on and so forth. So I want you, and here that is right here. So I want you to discern, and people going to say, yeah, but he didn't want to snitch to the police and so on and so forth. But in this other interview, he now admits that he saw who the shooter was or who was getting off, with the shots and things. So basically, he says, it goes on to say, driving down East Flamingo, Knight drives in the lane that he and Pac were in 22 years ago. Knight accuses an anonymous member of Reggie Wright's right-way security company, a man he would later trust to run Death Row's day-to-day operations, erroneously pulled in front of the Knight Shakur BMW that night. He says an associate urged them to change lanes for security. As I proceeded to get over, the other car comes right there, which is the Cadillac. When the men inside the Cadillac start to shoot, Pac get hit. I pulls him down. I get hit in the head. Bam. When I pull him down, bam, I get hit in the head. When I get hit in the head, I immediately look up. When I look up, I see him. The motherfucker with fear in his bitch ass eyes. Like shit. He felt like he done got him a trophy. Like he done that. Wow. There you have it. So when I looked this up, which was information new to me, I never saw this information before, basically. And wow. So Tupac was the trophy. Basically. He was the trophy. And so the contrasting thing is, I guess everybody, and like I said, Suge handled it the way he wanted to handle it. It's not my position to say, he should have told the police, who did what, whatever, if he felt like that. But this is the thing that I wanted to tell you the most. The statement that he made in regards to how he said he looked up and basically he seen, the person had motherfucker with fear in his bitch ass eyes, like shit. He felt like shit. He done got him a trophy, right? So basically, if you see that, how do you then explain to me? And this is the reason why I say Tupac basically died for nothing. How do you then go and give Orlando money to testify on your behalf that he didn't kick you? I don't understand it. That's the reason why when you sum everything up, when you sum it all up, that's why I said Tupac died for nothing. Because now you going to the person that you basically say you saw shoot. You didn't tell the police immediately that when you were questioned in the police report. But in this interview, you basically confessed that you looked up and you saw the person that was shooting. But then later would go ask that same person to come to court to testify on your behalf that you didn't kick him. Another legal bite, or should I say a bite at the legal apple, in which, they basically violated Suge anyway, but, and then here you come now to where we are now with Suge doing 28 years. Wow. And so you just got to say, okay, I get it. If you believe in all of the things that you're doing, you want to be a gangster, all that's cool. That's your right. You can do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? I understand that. But at the end of the day, you got to be a man first. You got to be responsible first. See, because a lot of people, Max, I'm this, I'm that, but you got to be a man first. And as a man, when you say you love somebody and somebody your little brother, you're not going to let them go in that direction. But all of us are different, correct? So from the brother from Billings, Montana, when you ask me, what did Tupac die for? I got to say nothing. Wasn't even his fight. Suge basically said somebody pointed somebody out to Tupac. I don't know who that person was because I wasn't there. You know what I mean? But this is what Suge's saying out of his mouth. So since y'all like to take what he's saying as truth and fact, okay, yeah. I'm just trying to throw out that contrast of what that is and what that isn't, and the mentality that involves when you talking about not, the gang, gangster gangbang thing. That's one aspect of it. But you're talking about a CEO of a label who's a grown man who's older than Tupac, right? Who's saying that Tupac is his little brother, would not deter him from going down that path and saying, "No, you my little bro, man. You know what? Now we ain't gonna do that. We're gonna, the streets, for whatever else is going on, we're gonna, let the streets handle what that handle. You know what I mean? That's not who you are. That's not why you here. You know what I mean? Continue to make great music and so on and so forth." You think that would be the advice Suge Knight would have gave Tupac, but he didn't. Basically, he encouraged him to be a gangster, to be a part of the clique, the crew. And for that, I'm not even gonna say that he, because Tupac was really a part of that, but because he wanted to be a part of that. That was like his thing. He wanted to, show them that, yo, I'm dope in this rap thing, but I can put it down too in the streets, fighting, I guess. Think about that. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.